Yeah, good evening, my people. Machuku once again here on the same story, on the same issue about the current happening around the outcome of the election primaries in Anambra State. Today, we are receiving a response from the UPP themselves, and we are going to read that response to you. And we are also going to make meaning of that response alongside with you. It is now becoming obvious that our campaign is making headway. We said it that if we continue hitting on that point, each one of us, day in, day out, till we get answers that they must have to respond. And fortunately, they are responding. From what their response is how we are going to know exactly what transpired. The UPP have now responded, and we are going to read it to you, and we are going to make sense of it all. Yes, my people, Chekwa Sopore were ball, he played with us, but we are going to do all it takes, all in our power, to make sure that we are not going to be taken for granted this time. We are going to read to you the press release from the UPP, now blaming everything on Chude Ofodile, no longer Ifeanyi Okonkwo, who they the first time. And we don't blame them for whatever they are doing at this point, because Chude Ofodile himself deserves it. At the heat of the whole thing, he came out, and I read a statement that he made us at that time, trying to defend the authorities of the heads, executives of that very UPP, in favor of the executives. That's what he did. So at this point, where the whole game have cooled down, he have lost it, so he is now coming out with who he is actually himself. I spoke with him before the time of the primaries as a kind of warm-up for a kind of vetting process, which I tried to engineer to implement as to get the whole system correct, which also they were also party to the failure. All of them, the whole aspirants, I spoke with them. They didn't want to comply. They thought it wasn't important, but now it's telling on all of them one by one. I know his answers as at that time also. I saw the fact that irrespective of whatever anybody might think, they are out there now about him being Biafra minded, but I didn't see it so. It is good what is happening now is happening, but he stands a favorable chance in the argument on board now. But that notwithstanding, I still reserve my comment about who they are to myself, everybody to what they found out. But the UPP is the most disappointment we are facing, and the problem we have at hand to solve. The campaign we have to undertake, the campaign to make sure that we bring down anybody that UPP puts there as a gubernatorial candidate for Anambra State. If APC like, if PDP like, if PCP or what ZBC or whatever the party name is, they can win in Anambra. But our campaign is to make sure we draw UPP down and humiliate them, make sure that they don't, nobody else tries such a thing in the Biafra struggle. Now let's listen to their response. We are going to be stopping from time to time to clarify some certain points when need be.
Press release. UP governorship primary election, the many lies of Han. Shadi Offadile. It will be recalled that the United Progressive Party, UP, held its governorship primary election on Saturday, August 19, 2017 at Awka, Anambra State. Two aspirants, namely Honorable Shadi Offadile and Chief Osita Chidoka, met the party's conditions to participate in the primary election. It is important to note that UP had held its non-election convention at Awka on Thursday, June 29, 2017. One of the highlights of that convention that was well attended, monitored by INEC and extensively covered by local and international media, is the ratification of the motion recognizing the harmonization of the officers of the party in the 36 states of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, as officers functioning in acting capacities pending our subsequent election convention. This ratification at the convention followed the approval of the appointment of these unelected officers by the National Executive Committee, NEC, of our great party. It is therefore a barefaced lie when Honorable Shadi Offadile informed the public through many newspaper publications that UP in Anambra State at any point in time leading to the primary election conducted what he mischievously referred to as a hotly contested local government congress in June 2017 in line with Article 10(4) of the UP Constitution. Shadi Offadile should be honorable enough to inform the public the names of the electoral committee members that conducted the so-called hotly contested local government congress. It is normal that before a local government congress is conducted, ward congress precedes it. But this unintelligent character made no reference to any ward congress that would normally precede a local government congress. In accordance with the section of the constitution of the party he chose to cite. The truth is that the National Working Committee, NWC, acting on behalf of the National Executive Committee, NEC, gave approval to the Anambra State stakeholders of the party made up of national officers of the party from the state, members of the National Board of Trustees from the state, members of the State Working Committee, SWC, chairman of the 21 local governments in Anambra State to recommend to the NWC, acting officers of the 326 wards in Anambra State for consideration and approval. This was done. A few complaints followed the list of the recommended officers, and the complaints that had merit are duly considered and the approved list duly uploaded at the UP website on Friday, July 14, 2017. It is pertinent to state at this point that the UP had amended its constitution following due process to the effect that delegates from the wards to the state congress shall be statutory delegates made up of the ward chairman, ward secretary, ward treasurer, ward woman leader and ward youth leader. Honorable Offadile participated in the convention where this amendment was made and duly filed with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as required by law. On Thursday, the 27th of July, 2017, Honorable Offadile voluntarily procured the party's expression of interest form, having paid the required fee. He completed and returned same to the party. Himself and interested members of the party and the general public were already aware of who the delegates of the party would be at least 8 weeks before the state primary election was held on Saturday, August 19, 2017. Honorable Offadile proceeded, again voluntarily, to pay for and collected the party nomination form on Monday, July 31, 2017. On Friday, August 11, 2017, Honorable Offadile, accompanied by Dr. Lawmefer, his campaign aide, appeared before the party's screening committee presided over by our National Secretary, Alhaji Sadiq Masala. Unknown to the party, Offadile had sponsored suit No. CV/2658/17 at the FCT High Court filed on the date of his screening, praying the court to halt our planned state congress. The court, in its wisdom, refused to grant an ex parte order but rather ruled on an order of court bridging the time for the defendant to the originating summons, and that the party should be put on notice, that the scheduled party's primary election should proceed in accordance with the party guidelines and the Electoral Act and adjourned for the substantive application to be heard on Tuesday, August 29, 2017. Honorable Offadile continued with his mischief by instigating a few members of the State Working Committee in Anambra State to lay claims to powers that were not conferred on them by the party constitution. They relied on such claims of non-existent powers to address a press conference at Awka, suspending the only 2 aspirants of the party and 2 other national officers of the party from Anambra State, including...
Sorry, if we could recall here, this very statement has been made before by the UPP, but the name that was therein represented was that of Chief Ifeanyi Okonkwo, as being the person who laid that very, what they called, some rough attitude, a kind of, that they stated also here has been stated before. So we also have to bear that in mind, that now in this very, very denial here, there is no mention of the name Ifeanyi Okonkwo, who we know were their capital accuser during their last statement, like this too, trying to justify their dealings this election season. But now what they are trying to do here now is to deny the fact of having anything to do with what caused the problem that led to the death of the chairman of the ward. As Chudi Ofodile the other day laid it out on his statement, video record statement or press release, he laid out reasons, attributing those reasons of the ward chairman's death as being caused by the UPP. But now the UPP is denying and laying that blame directly on the actions of Honorable Ofodi himself. So we'll go on, we'll continue to read so that you understand how now all of them are crying foul. And in this case, I will tell you there is a lot of blame to go around. That is why I said in a case like this where the death of people, we should not allow the death of people in this very matter to just come and pass. It will be unfortunate. I the other day read a statement also by Barrister Emeka promising that he's going to follow this very matter swiftly because he is in the matter of Biafra, in the pursuit of Biafra with his ideology to avoid such incidents. And if in this case we will record a death of a ward chairman in the event of an election that is supposed to be free and fair, an election that is done within our own circle, that has not even gotten up to the general level, just within the primaries. If we should experience such death and do nothing about it, then the whole Biafran struggle have no meaning. I've been saying it. This very question of what really happened, irrespective of whatever we are hearing, the parties are saying now, the question should go right to the heart of the Biafran government. Because the man in question here, the party in question here, have a lot to do with the government of Biafra itself in depth. So it is not a matter that can be just kicked aside. If we kick it aside, it means we really need to kick aside everything that we have done from whatever time to this very time and start afresh completely. We continue to read. We try to start from a place where, okay, let's see.
They relied on such claims of non-existent powers to address a press conference at Aka, suspending the only 2 aspirants of the party and 2 other national officers of the party from Anambra State, including calling off the state primary election for which due notice had been given to INEC and other preparations/logistics put in place. The party leadership acted swiftly by dissolving the acting state working committee and reassured the public that the planned state congress was on course. Honorable Offadile allowed his name to be included among those who were suspended by the acting state working committee only as a facade. Overwhelming members of the acting state working committee promptly issued a joint statement to dissociate themselves from the contents of the press conference under reference, which obviously ridiculed the party before the public. On Wednesday, August 16, 2017, the national chairman of our party, Chief Dr. Chekwas Okari, hosted Honorable Chudi Offadile and Chief Osita Chidoka alongside 2 of their aides to a breakfast meeting at his Enugu residence. The purpose of the meeting was to explore the possibilities of these 2 old-time friends agreeing to approach the primary election as friends so that the outcome could be like a funny affair without rancor. It was agreed that each would abide by the outcome of the primary election. On Thursday, August 17, 2017, the chairman of our great party in Anambra State, Dr. Sylvester Ikwilo, accompanied by the state acting secretary Mr. Fidelis Okafor, with a fairly large contingent of our members in Anambra State, to apologize to the party for the embarrassment and inconvenience caused the party and the undeserved damage done to the name and person of the national chairman, Chief Okari. They promised to address the press upon their return to Aka to make public their apology and the appeal for forgiveness. The national chairman did not hesitate to pardon them, especially after they had confessed how Honorable Chudi Offadile misled them into carrying out their rebellion against the party and its leadership.
Yes, this is a blatant lie, because that very statement they released as at that time was how Chief Ifeanyi Okonkwo led that very rebellion. There was no mention of Honorable Chidi Ofodile in the very, very public statement released by the UPP, also on this very matter. At this very time, he's talking about the national state chairman, or the state chairman made an apology. That apology included the name of Chief Okonkwo and not Ofodile. So this is a blatant lie. And at this very point, that is why I also think what is happening is okay. Also, the way it is affecting Honorable Chudi Ofodile this time. It just shows how corny all of them are. I'm sorry to say. Because at this very juncture, when this was happening, when the name of Ifeanyi Okonkwo was the one replacing his own at that time, he was making a statement in favor of the national and against the state. I read it all, and it's all there out. So, as now, the way you make your bed is the way you lie on it. Whatever you entangle with yourself with is what you receive. What you give out to Mother Earth is what comes back to you. It's as simple as that. But we are strictly on tearing apart the UPP. That is our goal. Because if you play with the Biafra movement, by the grace of God Almighty, by the powers that will be invested on us, even added with that of our ancestors, the fathers and mothers of the land, also with the blood of those who died during the war, and within all this time of this struggle, anybody, irrespective of your educational background, your wealth, your religious belief, or whatever that carries you, if you joke around, the time have come. The orders in play at this time is not the order that we can deal with, because it's the order that carries the wrath and the punishment of God. The time have come when we have to just be like a vessel to carry the action. That is what we are doing, nothing more.
On their return to Akka, they addressed a press conference on Friday, August 18, 2017. Part of the press conference speech read by Dr. Sylvester Ikwilo and signed by myself and the State Acting Secretary filed Akka for read as follows, that the
Why they only now address, they said, part of the press talk conference. That is that very press conference I'm talking about. Where they mentioned not Honorable Chudi Ofodi, but Chief Ifeanyi Okonkwo. That is why they are going to now address that very press conference without addressing that very area where they made mention of the other man's name. But now, because it is Ofodile who came out lastly to give a press release, a press conference addressing what happened and squarely blaming the death of the world chairman on the activities of the UPP. Now the UPP is coming out, twisting now. You know, when you lie, the only way you defend a lie is by continuous lying. The problem is all about now. And that is where the UPP have found themselves. That is the corner they have been pushed to. Unless they will come out, the only thing that helps a matter like this is confession, which we know we cannot get from them because of their pride. But in this case, just expect lie and lie and lie and lie all over again. Because when somebody lies, if you press them, you get more lies. That's the only thing to defend lies. You use lies to defend lies. There's no way, again, if you are coming up with the truth, that means you are coming with something opposite, and in that sense, it's regarded as confession. It becomes the truth. You are coming up now with a different, complete view, which is the truth. But in this case, we know the people we are dealing with. These are people who think that they are Namoa. These are people who think that they are Paapro. These are people who ego allow them to be human. These are animals in human skin, like Fela used to call them. These are people who are completely shameless and shame-proof. So we don't expect them to confess. We expect more and more lies. And the only thing now you people should be ready to understand how to prove people wrong, because now is a question of our understanding, our ability to push on and to push on and push on to understand the source of all this. Unless we do it like this, we will always be getting it wrong. So it is important we push this very matter to the extent when we will start questioning the Supreme Leaders. I want it to get to that point, because we want to know what they know. We want to know how that arrangement was made. We want to know how one of the council elders of the government of our Biafra have a party and the Council of Elders. If there is no workability, if there is nothing happening within that circle as regards to what was the party, the Supreme Council, that means we have no government. So we should know what we have and what we don't have. We should know what we are just having the camouflage that we should make a very original copy of. Then we know it. Then we start working on the reality and start living in fantasies and dreams. That is why we need to get to the bottom of this. And mind you, this is a very high matter at stake, because it is marking two very occasions where this very political system have completely destroyed, tarnished the image of the struggle. And also we should be mindful that the political system is a plausible means for that matter. If we lose confidence in that, our people are going to die by every other means, if not the court means. If we go by this shouting radical violence and saying non-violence, we are seeing what our even non-violence is resulting to death of our people. Only a non-violent protest turns deadly against us. So in other words, if we lose the only way that we can approach this matter systematically to get into the system, into the governance itself, where our word will matter to the local government of Nigeria and to the international community of the world, where we have say. When we talk, at least they listen. If they don't want to talk about it, they will have no option than to listen. A place where our radicality will be better placed, even if we go to the House of Assemblies or go into the Senate and box people off their teeth. Then questions will be asked. Why are they fighting every day there? We say because they are not talking Biafra. We want them to talk Biafra. If they don't talk Biafra, they lose one teeth. It's as simple as that. But now we can see that dozens are dying on the streets and nobody is talking about them, because we are not in the system. We are not well placed where we can be in the soccer. No matter how you cheer footballers or in the football match, if you are not in the pitch, your goal will never be counted. No matter how well you play it from your seat, where you are viewing from, you shoot the ball and they hit the goal. Everybody clap your hands for you because it was a wonderful shoot, but it will not be counted. That is the situation we are facing as at this time. And that is why it is this very opportunity, this very ugly opportunity, if I should say so, that the UPP has provided for us, is the opportunity we are going to use in gaining our reputation back, in gaining back that accountability, in gaining back that strength that makes a nation live. The only strength that will make a nation survive is the strength for that nation be able to hold accountable individuals. Now we don't have no police. Now we don't have no army of our own. But we are a people of laws. We must know how to deal with our own people. We must know how to control our own children. And if we cannot do it this time, we cannot govern ourselves. We continue to read the very bundle of lies. We know it's lies. We are going to press them. We need more lies. Because from those lies, we understand how. That's why what we are going. Without they go getting there, we are not moving forward. we are not going to move forward because we have been pretending this moving forward, and we found out that what we are doing is 1 step forward, 3 steps backward. We are losing lives. We are only hearing the name Biafra very close to our ears, but we cannot even see it with our eyes, let alone touching it with our hands. It's only about shouting, and we can't live like that anymore. We must know the problem of our people. We must find a way to make people have fear, at least for the people. One man cannot be Namor. No can ego will not be, I don't think, no, as that only can if we have money more than us, we are more in population, my people. If we really want to make noise, irrespective of how much we have to face all these hungry millionaires, we can do it. It's a matter of standing to our feet to say that it can happen that way, to know exactly what we want. Our people have suffered enough and still suffering and still willing to suffer, to give more, but we have to channel that energy to the right cause. First of all, we have to maintain our sense of accountability. We have to maintain a principle. We have to have a core foundation that is built on accountability. Very, very important. If not so, all our efforts will be in vain. I've been watching our people at home, most especially, who are the people who are living in that heat, suffering, doing everything to make sure that they get their Biafra in order to have a little breath. They are doing it with their mind, their heart. But if you are doing the right thing wrong, you will never make it right. That is why it is important, we who have experienced so many kinds of life, by going out as an so many people say, why do you people say, where are you people who stay overseas, you think you are this and that? Well, it is so. Experience comes from how you are able to associate different people, Indians, Asians, Americans, blacks, Arabs. So you have a lot. Our own old-time knowledge, wisdom, also said it, that so I will plead, even the system now that is engulfing the whole system in Nigeria, the Biafran new founded system, Nnamdi Kanu, he was abroad. It didn't emerge from within that place. It must be a well-articulated and a conditioned brain work that is borrowed from what we are seeing here, how people are making it work. It is the reality. You can't hide from the truth. The people, people are blessed, having so many of our people also outside. What is important, the people at home listen, or else they will be doing the right thing the wrong way. Thereby wasting time, which we have seen all this time. 1 step forward, 3 steps backward. The profit of all what we are doing can be justified by how many lives we are losing, whether we are gaining or we are losing. As I get and we continue to finish the lies, as we said, from the
various allegations peddled against the national chairman of UP Chief, Drive, Chekwas Okari are spurious and unfounded. The SWC, while reaffirming our loyalty to the National Working Committee and the National Chairman of the party, regret the inconveniences and damage the unfounded allegations might have caused his reputation in the party. All others who were suspended are absolved of all allegations and the suspension hereby lifted.
You see, this is where they end that conference speech. But before that, this very conference speech went ahead to identify Chief Ifeanyi Okonkwo as the bully at that time. But now they changed it to be Ofodile in order to just put him in that position to free themselves from being the cause of death of this our young brother. If you lie to human beings, do you think you can lie to God? Even if we don't find out who among you people caused it, we know you people caused it, all of you together. Then it's God to pinpoint who amongst you will be responsible for that. So you are lying, you are telling us here. It's because you don't want to go to prison, you don't want to lose your stupid credibility, you don't want to lose your money in payment of anything. That's why you are telling all these lies. In one way or the other, you are avoiding one of these things.
In the evening of Friday, August 18, 2017, the Congress Committee led by the Deputy National Chairman, South, of the party, Chief Chris Ehikush, invited the aspirants individually to sign an undertaking, as is the standard practice, that they would abide by the outcome of the party primary election. Honorable Ofodile was the first to honor the invitation. He only suggested that the undertaking should include additional clause that the primary election should be conducted in accordance with the provisions of the party constitution. His suggestion was considered and accepted. He left, promising to come back later that evening to sign the amended document once the amendment had been effected. The committee Honorable Ofodile till 11 p.m. He did not come. When he was reminded that he was being waited for to sign the document, he said he would do so in the morning of Saturday, August 19, being the day of the Congress. The Congress Committee in its wisdom opted to carry out the accreditation of party delegates at the Geo Gold Hotel, which is quite a distance at the Emmaus House, venue of the primary election. Accredited delegates were conveyed to the venue of the election by dedicated transport arrangement. At a point when over 1,000 delegates had been accredited and conveyed to the venue of the Congress, Honorable Ofodile surfaced and presented a letter that he was no longer satisfied with the delegates list for the primary election. He did not indicate in the letter that he would not participate in the primary election, and he did not withdraw his agent who was already at the venue of the primary election to represent him. Shortly after, Chudi Ofodile did his letter and left. All was let loose. We have it on good authority that he had hired hundreds of thugs to disrupt the accreditation of delegates for the primary election. His hired thugs struck only when he left the venue, obviously at his behest. It was in the attempt by the police and other security agents to repel the thugs from carrying out a planned mayhem that they fired tear gas into the rampaging crowd. It was this melee that took the life of Honorable.
That is it. Now they are playing around with a man's life. Now nobody wants to be responsible for what caused the man's life. So we should just forget about it. And people say we should move on. Yes, it's as simple as that. But there is a family, there is a father, there is a woman, there are children. If care is not taken, I know that man must have children who are now in grief. And we want to move on just like that. Tomorrow, one of them will become governor. One of them will become senator. One of them will become whatever they are looking for. And we just move on. They have just given statements here and there on how he caused it, and that man is dead. And we move on. election will be held November, and the UPP will succeed because they are using the might of Biafra. Chekwas will install a governor in Anambra State. He will start to eat his money, and that family will be in grief. And yes, he has done it. He's a great man. He's a hero. He's somebody who will come and speak, and the people will listen. And me and you don't stand no chance because we have no money. Nobody listens to what we say. Yeah, it's important. It's good like this. But I am saying this time it is not going to be so easy, and it's not going to be just an easy getaway for any of them who believe that this is the way they want to live their lives, by not having any human feeling on people, by not having any emotions, by pretending every aspect of their actions. People who their good morning, who their laughter, who their well-wishing is just evil. I wonder how I tell you, there's a lot of things that is going to happen. If what we are seeing is just the minute of what we have, people like this very Chepasokuri, up to 2 million in Biafra land. And you can imagine, if it's not more, you can imagine what that means if we are looking for this freedom. If we have people who are even sometimes more dangerous than this very man, who we are seeing the evil. So there are so many people who carry arms, even who are more better in heart than these people. And there are a lot of kind of dangerous people we have like this in our area. That is why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, what Nnamdi is doing now, that very uproar that is boiling, the Hausa call for Igbo people to quit, the Yoruba calling for Oduduwa Republic, the all hell that is broken loose now in Nigeria, and that will really, really intensify in the coming months, is going to do a little workshop of a lot of nonsense, clearance. That is going to be a really, really wipeout of kind of, I don't know, a lot of something is going to happen, and everybody is going to say is the way God is designing to come and build that very light. Is going to bring that very light. After rain comes sunshine. The rain is going to fall. Then the sun is going to shine. Biafra will be born. It's the land of the rising sun. We know that that many days ago, then Wacha, then Biafra. We have time. And it's a short time, even to accommodate all this wonders that is going to happen. 14 years to be able to repair the damage that we have caused, the damage that is living, the evil that is living within our midst in Biafra land. 14 years to repair all these things, to put everything in shape and position is it will be a miraculous deed if it can be achieved within this period of time. But God is going to do it for us. God will do it for us. We'll achieve it in that 14 years. Also reminding that we have a possible 7 years addition, which will make 21. But all the same is also wonderful, because where we are today, with what we have done, the way we have driven the struggle, the kind of human beings that are implanted in our system and in our kitchens, like brothers and sisters, that's the highest work of evil that the devil did among humanity. is to implant that evil one in the same place, in the same womb where God implants the godly people. That implantation of the evil people is also there. But that's a talk for another day anyway. But right now, a purification time, meaning ihe na-eru na Nigeria bụ mmiri, and ọ ga-ezo bịa gbacha anwụ abịacha Nigeria adajie Biafra abịa. So we continue to finish this very statement, these very lies, welcomed lies from the UPP. More evidence to hold them to ransom.
Owakwi Maduabuchi, the late ward chairman of Up in Oer Izukala Ward I in Orumba South LGA of Anambra State. The party is not now in a position to state whether our late
brother's name is Owakwe Maduabuchi. That is the late of our late brother who lost life on this very day in the hands of all these shameless, nameless brothers that we can how it happened. These people are with us. So we are sorry, we regret the death of this very brother, Owakwe Maduabuchi. May his soul rest in peace.
Party ward chairman died as a result of stampede or the tear gas that was fired by the police. But the party immediately sent emissaries to the family of the deceased to convey to them the sad news and inform them of our intention to visit the family the following day, Sunday, August 20th, 2017. The Congress committee led party officials and the elected party candidate Chief Osita Chidoka to visit the family of the deceased, where we commiserated with them and offered to participate every manner required by tradition and religion to accord him a befitting burial. The police are investigating the circumstances that led to the death of our chairman. We are, however, not surprised that Honorable Chudi Afadile promptly ran to the media to make spurious claims as to the cause of death and reason for the public disorder that resulted to the death of this party official. We hope the police will soon clear the air so that the public will know who indeed instigated the riot that resulted in this tragedy. Contrary to the impression that Honorable Chudi Afadile has given to the public through his spurious allegations, the Congress committee accredited over 1,400 delegates. The election went on peacefully without any disturbance at a safe distance at Emau's house, Aka, under the watchful monitoring of INEC and accredited media. At the end of the exercise, Honorable Afadile scored 87 votes, or about 7% of the total vote cast, approximately 50% of total accredited delegates of his Aka North and South primary constituencies being an indigene of Aka. On the other hand, Chief Osita Chidoka scored over 90% of the total votes cast, which showed a very strong and powerful grassroots acceptance of his candidature by party delegates, who in turn will be actively involved in the campaigns ahead. It is unfortunate that Honorable Chudi Afadile could be so desperate as to engage in some of the things he did. Those he used to commit obvious criminal case of perjury and forgery have been reported to the police for necessary action. The party is fully prepared to meet him at the FCT High Court, Abuja, for the civil matter he sponsored against the party even while he pretended to be part of the primary election process. We are not surprised that he was quick to resign from the party on his Facebook page and later on the pages of newspapers, knowing the obvious implication of dragging the image of the party in the mud and dragging the party to court without first exhausting the party's internal machinery for dispute resolution. Before Chudi Afadile joined up, he had been a two-term member of House of Representatives, of which the second term was aborted midway through the legal process for the irregularities in his election. While in PDP, he contested for the party's National Publicity Secretary and was known to have exhibited similar desperation when he lost to Chief Olisa Meta for the post of National Publicity Secretary. He resigned and joined APGA, where he lost nomination twice. First to contest for Senate and secondly to contest for governor. Again in frustration and desperation, he resigned from APGA. It is this character that came to carry out a hatchet job of destroying a party he did not participate in its formation. We wish to assure the Nigerian public that in the final analysis the primary election in Anambra State for the 2017 governorship election will be adjudged the most transparent, credible, free, and fair election carried out on a level playing field. Chief Diko Bihi National Publicity Secretary.
Okay, watch the last statements. The damaging assassination of character area of the whole statement there. Tackle deals with how many times this man has been wanting to become this or that, which is a question. It's a question I raised when I read his profile after he was in the House of Representatives, or was it Senate? Well, how come he contested or looked for this very power so many times and failed if he had done a good job? But in this case, it's now the UPP that took him as their best candidate. I also know, these politicians, and the people also don't think. This is somebody who, this very party who is now condemning him, assassinating his character. For them, is not a qualified candidate as at this point, but he was as at 1 month ago. They really knew. That means they duped him. If you look at it the other way around, maybe they really know he wasn't a qualified candidate, but they praised him in order to dip their hands inside his pocket. Once he brings out his money, then they chose who they wanted, which is now what happened. And the one he lay accusation against them, then they have to tell him who they really think he is. So that is what is happening now. You see how the politics work. These men, when you see these men working together, you see maybe Chekwa Sokore, you see Childa Fodile, you see Osita, they work together. You see these are humble men, they are friends together. But these are really lions and dangerous people even to themselves. These are men that have no friends. These are men that what matters to them is just materialism. And these are people who pretend to be friends. Even sometimes they forget that they are pretending and they justify themselves that they are friends. These are confused human beings. We have a lot of them even in the European world, because the whole of the system is the same thing anyway sometimes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen it, we are still saying it, we will still be calling, and we will still be ramping up our own campaign, calling on you wherever you see Chekwa, no matter what he's saying. What he's saying has been identified as complete lies. I identified about 2-3 major lies in that very press conference alone. They cannot be, there is no mention of Ifeanyi Okonkwo in this very issue now. But we know that he was the person, as at when the delegate list was tampered, he was the person who came out vocally and challenged them. He was the person who the party posted his name in front as the bullies to what was happening, as at that time, to tell you how it's a merry-go-round. What goes around comes around. Children of Fodile, as at that time, even was supporting the national chairman or the whatever headquarters of that very UPP. He was supporting them. But now these are people living in pretense and in lies. That's what I mean. Even the chief of Fodile. He was pretending, lying to himself, being a friend to somebody who he knows he's not a friend to. At the time he could have been serious. At the time he needed help. He didn't know what he needed because he didn't know who was his friend and who was not. So he decided to do some ofukweba. And now the nyasha for Koko is buhe. So what are we going to do about it? Everybody start crying. Some people are laughing. Some people are smiling. And unfortunately, somebody really is dead. And we want to forget it and just move on. I promise all these people, I promise even the Biafra people, it is going to be a shame if we don't hold these people accountable. It's going to be a shame if we allow Chepaso Kori, his prospects, to come to reality where he will be able to put up a governor and enjoy the fruit of this his very level. If we allow that happen, I promise you people, it's a shame if we will fold our hands. But one thing is that I am promising you the Lord is this, the winner of every battle is not going to allow this people. Mark my words. Osita, no matter if you fight them or not, will not emerge no one Anambra governor. Let's fight them in spirit. Let's fight them physically. Let's fight them emotionally. Let's fight them intelligently. My brothers, I'm known for this evening, but we'll be making it. We'll be always our brother's keeper. We'll always be here. We'll always do it morning, afternoon, evening. We are now sleeping Biafra. We eat Biafra. We talk Biafra. We drive Biafra. So many times people have seen me done recording. Sometimes I have it in my car. When I drive around, I film myself because nothing again I think about. I go to my studios. I think about Biafra. In the mornings, when I wake up, my laptop is with me. I have to just check around what has happened within the night, within the day, just to see where I can help to, because I know there's something wrong, and there is something every one of us should do. It is important we promote the cause of accountability first. The foundation that will hold us together, the foundation that will make a reasonable nation. How do we hold somebody accountable for what he told us, for what he promised us, for what he did against us, for our money they are keeping? The foundation of any successful union. Accountability. We don't have it. And you cannot start it if you don't build a premise for that. And we cannot live by saying it is not possible. How do you do it? We have to find a way, because nothing is impossible. The Lord tells us that. I believe that. I know there are things I cannot do, but I believe that I cannot do it doesn't make it impossible. Even for me personally, because I believe I cannot do it because I have not devoted, I really don't want it, I just not in the mood for one reason or another. But if it is what I should do, I must do, with God, I must and will do it. The possibility becomes easy. Let's go to bed. Tomorrow is another day. God bless you all as we continue to pray that we'll get it right.